What's up, Hippo lovers? This is Nili, and this is my recap for NAC 4. I haven't structured all my thoughts, not 100% sure if I will edit something in or out. Let's just fly into it. I just set up my PC after I'm back, had a 12 an hour sleep, and let's talk about overall feelings, right? Obviously, main feeling is exhaustion, and to prevent that, probably something we'll talk about later when it comes to changes for the future. Together with exhaustion is obviously a lot of pride, a lot of happiness. The feedback has been so good, and I just feel very valued, and that people see my efforts, that people are really happy. Like, so many people said like how much time they spent there, how much they watched it, how much they enjoyed it, and that's just absolutely beautiful. And yeah, overall I'm therefore pretty happy with the product that we delivered. The location, obviously moving NAC 1, 2, 3 from my apartment to NAC 4, the Gamer Legion house location, was a bit of a questionable step. Some people felt like, okay, we could lose a bit of the like apartment feeling, but I think we did a pretty good job. Obviously, a lot of work went into it. With us, like we looked at the location with the light guys, with the production, and basically like before the tournament even was announced, looked at, okay, where do we set the couch? How do we position the casters? What can we do to give the behind the scenes feeling? And I would say we did a good job there. It obviously isn't the NAC 1, 2, 3 feeling, but I think if we want to go into reasonable direction in like a bit more competitiveness, I think this is the step we had to go for, and I'm pretty happy with it, right? Just remember, like NAC 1, 2, 3, we had 2 PCs for players. So there was no practice, there was no warm-up. If you had 2 days off, you didn't play for 3 days, basically. And now everyone got their own PC, the extra room. I wanted an observer for NAC 3, but I didn't have space for a chair. That's simple, right? Yeah, so overall I would think the location helped quite a bit there, that we got way more space, yeah. Then a lot of people asked me what was my best moment. I would say it was the rock, paper, scissors against T90. I will link it down below as well. And I think it will make its own YouTube video, so I won't even link it. You will find it within the next week on this channel. The rock, paper, scissors before the show match on Sunday. That was pure Craigism for me. Yeah. In-game, probably Flemish Revolution, Liereyy against Hera group stage. I would think so. Yeah. Expectation versus reality. I obviously ask on my Discord what do you guys want to see in this recap, and that was something that we had like 2 or 3 times mentioned there. The question is basically, how do I envision NAC going and how it actually went in the end. And I think we got reasonably close. Obviously, I spent months thinking about it. Okay, when do I want what to happen? How do we transition? How should players be set up? And like, the speech that I held Friday evening before everything went down, basically the speech for the players, I had that set up like 2 months ago or something. Like, I kind of knew, okay, those should be the problems, those should be the things going down. So I think event-wise, like how things went down, I think we got pretty close. I expected the games to be a bit longer, and therefore, like, we were ahead of schedule on most days. Yeah, that's what I would say. People were just so smooth, like jumping into the next games. I just planned with more unforeseen delays, probably, that didn't really happen. Like, we had so few problems. Technical issues, not at all. Twitch was down twice. Twitch server had some problems, but that didn't change anything in our run, right? Okay, player performance. Obviously, everything will include spoilers here. Maybe I should have made a disclaimer for that as well. Where was my sheet for player performances? Here. So, this one was the performance of all the players. And some people said, wow, Jordan underperformed. Some people said Viper underperformed. Let's compare it with the seedings, right? I gave you the seedings here, 1 till 10. And now I will reveal how the seeding was and what player got what seeding. And then I gave them a number how they over or underperformed. If it's a plus, they overperformed, and if it's a minus, they underperformed. So for example, Hera was seed 2. He finished first though, so it's a +1. Liereyy, third. He got second, so +1. So as you can see, someone that we didn't really talk about, that seeding was done by the 10 players. ACCM was the heaviest underperformer. Had an average seeding of 7. In the end, he got 10th. Jordan didn't underperform that much, right? His seeding was 8. He got 9th. So lots of people felt like, okay, wow, Jordan underperformed. You also have to remember, seeing Jordan going 1-4 is something you never see, but you never see tournaments where only top 10 players participate as well. And you have those group stages. So the biggest outperformer, the biggest gain compared to their seeding was actually Nicov, being seed 10 and finishing 7th, 8th, which I basically said is a 2.5 seed jump. Yeah. So overall, obviously Viper underperforming there, but that's something we all know already. So Nicov, the big winner there. ACCM probably the one underperforming the most, together with the storyline that we already obviously talk about quite a bit. The Viper. Caster performance. T90 and Dave, exactly what I expected from them. Funny, goofy, insightful, letting the show run, and yeah, exactly doing why I brought them in, right? Dash, probably even overperforming. I expected him to be like the smooth guy, like very much understanding his roles, always doing play-by-play, but he had such good synergy with the players, also with the other casters. Like, it felt really smooth, and I was really happy with his casting. Obviously, we had great moments behind the scenes there as well. I felt a bit bad not giving him better spots in the playoffs, like he did the early sets in the round of 6 and semifinals, which kind of feels like I'm giving him not enough credit. Obviously, also didn't have a spot in the finals that I gave to T90 and Dave. But I'm super happy with what he did, what he contributed. Also, like, there was one feedback talk after a cast that we weren't too pleased about, and he was so open to feedback, giving, taking, and improved heavily there after, I think, day 2 or something. Like, I think it was, yeah, a pure pleasure to have him there. I was not happy with my casting. I realized myself zoning out, not being smooth. I didn't have any preparation for any cast, really. And yeah, it simply, like, to compare my cast with TGM, where I felt I might have had 2 of my best casts ever, like TGM semifinal, TGM final. People were like actually coming to me and saying like how good my casting was there, and I felt really on point. Obviously slept enough, could compare this, could build storylines in my head, could prepare the drafts more, like everything. I could be a real caster and dedicated to that. Obviously, I'm wearing way too many hats at this event. And I think if I want to include myself more in events that I'm hosting, I need to change something there. Maybe I should not have even cast semifinals. Yeah. Okay, let's move over to production. Obviously, a big thing also, thinking ahead, like, okay, we had NAC 1, 2, 3, now we're going NAC 4, can we get the feeling? And it was a bit of a different feeling, right? But I think they absolutely delivered. And I'm so happy with them. The meme guy was on point. I felt like the highlights came in time. Obviously something to work out there. Would have loved to have a fourth person there that works a bit, like, has the 100% understanding of the game, right? I also see myself, like, what I kind of learned in this event, to be like a production guy for esport events. Like, and guide the camera, okay, this is the shot we need now, this is the highlight that we need now, this is the moment where we switch into the POVs, this is the highlight, now we need this replay from this POV, and set the casters up a bit more. I think I would have loved to have this, and maybe I should have done that for the finals. Obviously I was at the finals, having my own PC, spectating the games to see if any maps are bugged and such. And so that it's just so tricky, right? Then I'm watching Twitch chat. I'm also trying to enjoy the event. It's, yeah, obviously maybe something for like a bigger production, like 3-4 more people there, and then that runs smoother. But I think with the 3 that we had there, absolutely great. And yeah, I'm super happy. Yeah, not much else to say. Obviously super happy with Vodka as well. I know that he had some smaller slip-ups there, sometimes didn't show the right thing at the right time, but honestly, after like working 7 days of 12 hours, he did a phenomenal job. If we want to increase production value there, a second observer would make a lot of sense. And also something that we didn't have was, like, for example, an extra screen for Vodka, so that he sees what the casters actually see and what production is showing at the moment. He only had his screen. Certainly something we can improve on. Yeah, but overall, very happy. Then viewer numbers. That was also the category of expectation versus reality, and we can take a look at what I aim for. Right, we were looking at Twitch viewer peak 35,000. We had like 42,000 overall as the viewer peak. That was basically live. It was not only Twitch, but all platforms. And Twitch average viewers, 12,000. I averaged 9.6. So wouldn't be surprised if we had like 12, 13. There's the average. Airtime, I predicted 92 hours. At the end, we were at 91 and 48 minutes, so 12 minutes short. Hours watched, I said 1.5 or 1.1 million. I think my channel alone was like 900,000 hours watched, so we were pretty close there. YouTube views, I think we are short of 1 million right now, so that's the thing that my predictions were off the most. When it comes to viewer peak, obviously on my channel I wanted 22, felt like my minimum. 27 felt like that would be ideal, and we were at 25, but it was so much out of my hands. Like we were at 24k when I still had German front page, then we dropped to 19k, and that was like 5-3. We were at like 19k on my channel at the start, when it was 4-3. So it could have ended with like 20k, and then we just get 2 more games, right? It feels so weird, like completely out of my control. If we have a Viper finals, we might have 5,000 more. If it's a 5-0, we might have like 17,000. Like going for viewer peak, actually I think is a bad metrics. Thinking about it now, in hindsight. I think that's what a lot of people think about, like, wow, 25,000 people saw it at the same time, but it's so out of my control, right? Like, the product that I'm delivering can have a 19,000 peak and a 30,000 peak, which is completely out of my control. So, certainly something I learned. Yeah, let's continue with the map pool. I think the map pool was good. I think I would have, now in hindsight, made some changes to Hippopotamus to make it less villager rushy, to have the map a bit more, because I think it could show a lot of great potential and could give us a lot of good maps. We made some small changes between the qualification and the main event, but there weren't enough. Some tweaks there, even just like spawning with an extra outpost or some walls or maybe more straggler trees. I think those all could have been options. And I think I would have skipped one mixed land water map, like either get rid of Kabasan or Frigid Lake, I feel. Otherwise, pretty happy with the map pool. Then obviously Flemish, I already said, developers are aware of the problem. I personally think people have no idea how to play against Flemish right now. And what is this one? Oh, Twitch view, average viewers. Okay, well, I could still talk about that. Especially March 11th was way lower than I expected. So I think the product shows people are tuning in more and more and more and more, which is great. But having a 7K average on the first day meant I didn't do enough advertisement. And people that are interested in the game didn't know about it, which is not great. Yeah. Flemish? Ah yeah, Flemish screenshot. Right, this is the moment where we are 4 seconds away from Flemish. And everyone said, this is completely broken. But look at that. It's 7,000 extra resources collected by Hera as well. So I think Hera could do a lot of stuff to finish the game. I think Burgundians are just way, way better than Byzantines here. And the big problem is not necessarily Flemish, but that Flemish is a civ for Burgundians. If Flemish was something for Vikings, no one would care. Like, it's just relic bonus, light cav bonus, cavalier bonus, eco upgrades earlier bonus, eco upgrade cheaper bonus, right? That's just like so much that Burgundians have for arena that I think letting them go through unbanned, unsniped is something I don't really understand. And I think the civ itself either need a redesign, some changes, just give Flemish to someone else, change Flemish, like there's a lot of stuff lining up there. Plus, I also think people are misplaying against Flemish. Like fortified walls, where are the archer ranges in the back? Where was the mass amount of warding villagers? Where was the snipe on the siege? Like, so many options to delay Flemish there that people don't know about. And I already said in another interview, I think like someone like Running, Drake and Modri will do a way better job of defending. Not sure if it's enough, obviously, but I think people right now are not countering Flemish or have no idea how to properly play against it, not doing the right steps. Yeah. Still, all that being said, developers are aware of the problem that is Flemish Revolution. Prize pool. Obviously, we had to cut from 100k to 50k. Pretty sad there. And then I felt, okay, obviously with the coverage of Gamer Legion, I was kind of plus minus zero. I might have small losses, but all within reasons. I would say like 4 digits, right? So luckily we got to put all the donations into the prize pool, and I expected to be around 70k, and then people just went wild. In the end, we had 87,000 in the prize pool, so kind of like getting reasonably close what I initially advertised the tournament with, what I wanted the tournament to be, and the community helped out a lot there. Pretty happy with that and extremely thankful. Not much else to say. Yeah. Very happy. Then we have the Civ win rates. Obviously, lots of stuff to talk about, and also sample size really small, so don't get too wild here. Yeah, we can talk about that, can think about it a bit as well. But obviously, the big loser is, I think, Hindustanis, right? 2 wins, 14 losses. That's pretty wild. Not something lots of people expected. I don't really know. And players had like different answers. None of them made me happy. Certainly something to look into a bit later. People just got good matchups against them. And just playing Knight Crossbow apparently was good enough of an option. Skirm Camel. apparently not good enough. Also, people maybe didn't really adjust to the reduced villager change. So heavily overdrafted and got punished quite a bit. Also, Civ that got heavily overdrafted, in my opinion, is Dravidians. Going 5 and 11, actually better in the end than we had them at one point. I think at one point they were 2 and 9 or 2 and 8. So got a bit of a comeback. Obviously, Burgundians, as I said, I'm a bit surprised that they got through there so much. Aztec still absolutely dominating. Quite interesting. And anything else we want to mention? Japanese, solid performance. Lithuanians underperformed, something I think we didn't talk about at all. So a bit of a surprise there. Oh. 150 extra food at the start. Apparently not helping them out enough. I don't have any strong feelings there. I'm just saying, like, especially with like counter civ picking plus different skills, I think we need a bigger sample size there to say something of a lot of substance. Certainly Hindustan is something to look into why they underperformed so much. Then obviously on stream we had a lot of questions, and on YouTube comments. I now ask you to stay respectful. I know we'll get some comments there down below on YouTube. To handle this with care. I know it's a very heated topic. So obviously Vinchester is from Russia. Russia started a war last year attacking Ukraine, and therefore a lot of big organizations try to distance, sanction, try to punish players there. And I did not know how to handle that situation. Right? The qualifiers happened with the Russian flag. So I tried to do the chicken way and try to outsource it to the sponsors, right? I asked all of them, basically, and none of them had any strong feelings. Or didn't get back to me at all about the topic. And therefore, I was left with that again, right? So I go to the next people, ask them about it. Also, not strong feelings. Then I go to Twitch chat, ask them about it. Heard a lot of arguments, but none that really convinced me ever. And then I just decided to imitate what a lot of other tournaments are doing, right? Obviously team tournaments kind of cut out Russian teams at all. 1v1 tournaments kind of like gave them white flags. I still don't know if it was a good decision, good idea. It's just like, if I look back at myself and say, okay, a lot of other esports are doing it that way. For example, StarCraft has them simply as a white flag, right? It is the most similar game. Bigger companies. I just do the same. And I don't say I'm proud. I don't say I have any strong feelings, right? Like, there were a lot of arguments that you could easily, like, oh, they started a war. Why do we have the US flag? Right, like, or the Chinese flag. Like, if we get like that deep into politics, then we are like riding a weird high horse and judging other countries' governments, and like it's. Then we go into the next thing. Like, it's just that endlessly complicated, and I think we're missing a bit of Age of Empires there. I just wanted to give you my reasoning behind it, and. I don't know, like I talked to Vinchester obviously beforehand as well. I didn't have very strong feelings in either direction. I see Vinchester as an individual, and maybe something to avoid it. Obviously something like Red Bull banners could have been an option, to never show any flags, or just take the players' pictures. Obviously something that we couldn't really do with Capture Age, but maybe something I could have thought of earlier. With the overlays. Also, obviously, I didn't know if Vinchester would make it or not. So, kind of tricky, right? Changes for the future. If I ever host any tournaments, that could be NAC5, not NAC5. I need to get more time for myself. In the sense, like, I need to sleep more. I need to schedule my time better beforehand. I was not burned out, luckily, right? I'm like feeling really good. Even during that time, I felt really good emotionally. but it was just a lot, and more than one person can reasonably handle without having any follow-ups from it, probably. Like, I probably lost some living time. Like, I might die a year early or something like that. Because, like, 2-3 months of sleeping, barely sleeping, is not good for a human body. At least that's what most studies say. So I need an assistant or something else. The thing is, like, I try to outsource some of the work, and it's always the same amount of work because I need to explain them everything to begin with, right? Obviously, overlay guy helped me a lot in NAC 1 to 3. Production now did a really good job, but like all the meetings that I had with production to get to where we were also is like so much more work, right? It is tricky. That, and also like my casting suffering, as I said, right? Yeah, that's something I certainly need to learn, and I don't know what I can do there really. I reached out to some people trying to help me. Yeah, let's see. And then obviously the big question, lots of people saying, oh, NAC 4 was so nice when NAC 5. Obviously earliest would be like in a year, if at all, obviously. I obviously will dedicate full 2023 for myself playing. I still want to get that one top 16 in an S tier tournament. Big question mark right now. I'm so far off. I'm maybe number 50 in the world. Yeah, so I would need a lot of variance on my side in those sets. Yeah, right now I'm obviously feeling good. Feedback has been good. Maybe already knock at some doors with sponsors if stuff is easier. I won't commit to anything, and I can guarantee you it's not happening this year. Yeah. I think those are my thoughts, right? I will obviously do at least one, if not two, Q&A streams on Twitch as well. So stop by, ask your questions. I will answer a lot of questions down below. I hope that I discussed at least most of the topics you were interested in. And I hope the audio was okay, because I just changed my setup with limited testing when it comes to the audio. So that's it for me. Goodbye, Table Lovers.